Okay, we're in. Okay, great. So I'm Benjamin Thompson. I have a PhD in molecular biology. I currently work as a science writer for the Wellcome Trust. I thought I might tell you a little bit about myself so you can see what I'm all about and see if you like me. So question one that you asked me is, what's your motivation for doing this show? And I was thinking about this, and I have always been really interested, like super interested in what makes things work, you know. And I think one of my earliest memories as a child was taking apart my parents' old rotary telephone, and sitting there, sort of yay high, surrounded by these bits of material, and trying to figure out what makes the voice come out of the handset. I didn't. I upset my parents greatly, and I probably destroyed quite a nice sort of antique telephone. But that's really, and I brought that through from sort of my entire life. I've worked in laboratories, looked at what makes things tick. So I've looked at very tiny bugs, and I've looked at full plants, and sort of everything in between, really. I think my favourite scientist, looking back, sort of personally for me, was a guy called Louis Pasteur, who invented kind of the germ theory of disease, and it's quite humbling to look back and think that this guy had a thought, and he proved it, and this thought has changed the world we live in and has saved countless, hundreds of millions of lives. And so my other favourite scientist is a chap called Gordon Freeman. He is a particle physicist from MIT. He is an entirely fictional character and is the lead protagonist of the video game series Half-Life. Amazing guy. And so that's the kind of guy I am. You can see, this is me. I've always been very keen on science communication. I've done a lot of outreach stuff, talking to people about science, and trying to really break down very complex things into very simple terms, without oversimplifying, of course. I think with the right allegory and simile, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to explain anything to anybody. Now, I understand the premise of the show is to try and go back and look at some famous people and see maybe what makes them tick and look for their DNA. And of course, I've been having a few thoughts now about people that I think might be interesting. People with a history, with a past, who did some great things, and of course are very well known. The first one that kind of sprang to my mind was Andy Warhol. So I was, as a young man, huge fan of David Bowie and of course and the Velvet Underground. And he had a very interesting life because he was born Andy Warholer. He was a Slovakian immigrant, or his family were Slovakian immigrants, so you can trace that history back. He was very sick when he was young, and it gave him very pasty skin, and it messed up his hair. And you can see that from the kind of the persona, the sort of the Andy suit that he wore. So I'm interested to see if maybe did he have a predisposition to sort of disease when he was very young. And this then, of course, rolled on into his adult life. Very shy man, but he had this enormous persona. And well, of course, he created some of the most expensive and most amazing works of art sort of the modern world has seen. So is there something in his past that we can discover which invented the carapace, but still kept the guy behind it, And he died in surgery of heart complications. And again, is it possible to trace that back and see that, hey, we knew that he was sort of predisposed. Yeah. So of course he died of heart disease during surgery, and is it possible to see that we knew this was going to happen, that there was a predisposition for this to happen, And I thought of the second person as well, slightly different. In this case, for me, it was Sylvia Plath, obviously one of the 20th century's greatest poets. She started writing poetry at age 8, and I think she recorded all of it. All of it exists. And she's written some beautiful things, like if you look at Ariel, for example. But there was a profound sadness in her life, and she suffered very badly from depression, and underwent electroshock therapy and all sorts. And she killed herself at 30 years old, so no age at all. But again, can we look back at her history? She was an American immigrant to the UK. She studied at Cambridge, lived in the north of England. Can we look back and look for things in her past that would have been warnings and signals for what happened to her in the future? And everyone was very shocked when she died. But could it have been avoided? And did this contribute to the beautiful things that she wrote?